Hello everyone, I am X the Turtle 69 here, back with a brand new video, and today guys, I'm going to be doing a, not quite a compilation, but he compiling video to put all the information that I've given you in the past few months over the Windchaser Plus Youth Edition controller all in one place. This will not be covering the honest review, but this will be covering everything that you need to know, how to use it, and how it works. So I hope you enjoy. I hope that this is educational to you. And also, you might want to stick around because I'm covering everything, including the stuff that I've learned since after my most recent video. So, it's about to be a fun time. And I'm just gonna make sure that my Switch is ready and everything. And let's go. So, first off, pairing. So, first bit of new information to add for the controller. So, also comment if you want me to open this controller up, because I have already. And so yeah. But anyway though, back to the main topic. Pairing. First new bit of information that I'm gonna give you. Because someone asked how it works wired. A lovely commenter asked on 2 separate videos basically how to pair it not wirelessly and questioning why there's a lack of a dongle. Now here's the thing. I have no idea what the hell a dongle is. I'm pretty sure that dongles existed for the Xbox and PlayStation back in the day. However, I've been entirely and all my life a Nintendo kid. I mean, I have a giant life-sized Eevee plushie here named Nugget. By the way, yes, she was very expensive. Also, to just put it into perspective, how much of a Nintendo kid I am, I decided to do a Link cosplay. And I got an actual life-sized replica of the Master Sword, as well as a Hylian shield. So yeah. All to say, I don't know what the heck a dongle is, because I grew up with the Nintendo 3DS. But, if you're talking about wired connection, here's how you do that. So, you take one of the basically everything chargers nowadays, really only like knockoff stuff and really older stuff use USB, micro USB anymore. So you take a USB-C. You should have gotten one in the box. If you didn't, just take one of your phone chargers or anything, or just go to your local freaking any store, because I'm gonna be honest, any store sells these nowadays, and plug it in. Now I would suggest that you go to your local Walmart or use a different one, because not all of them transmit data. But if you just plug it in, then you should see that light come on. You should see these lights come on, and if you're plugged into a PC or a console, you should see these 2 lights come on, or lights in the back come on. And that means that you are actively paired. Also, to turn it off, you just simply either wait it out or click the pair button at the top right here for a bit. Now, for the next 3 pairing methods, I have to say, you have to use this pairing button. It is super important, because all other pairing methods do not work. So, next up is phone and Nintendo Switch pairing. So let's do phone real quick. So first things first, you're going to want to go to your phone's connected device thing. As you can see, I have no Pro controllers paired. I have my Rift Wireless 2s, my Push Actives, my family's van, Smokin' Buds, both pairs that I've owned, and my speaker. Now you go to pair new device. So I'm and pair new device, and now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold down that pairing button that I was just talking about, the button right next to the charging port, until that green light starts going. And then after that, you're going to want to go and click Pro Controller, and it should say pairing. And then it will say, ask if you want to pair with Pro Controller, right here. You click pair, and now it is paired. Now I'm going to disconnect this real quick, because if I don't, oh yeah, also I should say that it is connected in an odd way. So the controls are, I believe, Xbox controls for that. Anyway though, next up is Nintendo Switch connection. So let me just turn that on and give it a sec. There we go. So I'm here at Nintendo Switch, and I have my wired controller here. So I'm playing Echoes of Wisdom right now, you know, but I want to play using this. So I go to change grip order, and what you're going to want to do is going to want to do the exact same thing. Just hold down that button. Now I'm holding down this button. It's pairing. And it's plugged in. And it's connected now. You could probably hear it connect from over there. And now I'm free to use it. Now the next input mode is the Xbox input mode. Or DIN input mode. I get confused with it, but I believe Xbox mode is this one. So you're going to want to hold that pairing button down, but instead of just holding it down, you're going to want to also press Y. And now it's going to flash these two. And I believe that like with PC, that also means it's ready to wirelessly pair to your Xbox. Now, for the next input mode, you're going to want to press the X button while holding down that. So hold it down and press hold on, let me just turn off my Switch real quick. Okay, so you probably want to hold down the X button first and then press the pairing button. And then it will be flashing this. And I believe at that point, it means that you can't. But DIN input mode is only to be used, from what I've seen, in case of an emergency. The other ones are probably your best bets. So, for the next remaining of stuff, I'm going to be using my beautiful, wonderful Nintendo Switch. So, give me a moment to just, not USB camera. Hold on, I'm doing nah, there we go. Nope, let's just move that down and move me up. Okay, so the next stuff is, it's very important that you guys can see me for this. And I think I'm gonna, so By the way, I'm gonna be using Echoes of Wisdom for this. Echoes of Wisdom has been out for like a few months now. Actually, you know what? No. I'll use Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because I'm gonna be honest at this point. If you haven't played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe yet, I can't give you any spoiler warning because it's been out for so long at this point. Mario Kart 8! Alright. So, let's get back into what's important for y'all. Okay, so next up, now that you know how to do the inputs, it's very important that you know how to turn the controller off. It's very, very simple. Press the pair button a few times. One, while it's connected, should, but if not, then, you know. Now, the next up for you guys is the lighting systems and the lighting settings. So, there are two lovely buttons at the bottom of the controller. The one on this side, the one on the left side here, which is showing as right, because I guess it's mirrored. I think no, it's not mirrored. Anyway, though, the side with the joystick the closest to these, right here, will be rumble. The other side here will be lights. So, first off, let's turn off the lights. And let's actually turn off that a bit. So, just hold down the button for a bit, and the lights will turn off. Hold it again while it's off, and the lights will turn back on. Now, next is you're going to want to press this. While holding the button, you're going to want to click this. So there are a few phases. So this is first setting. This is second setting, which is solid colors. You can use this button here to click through a few colors. And then you can use this for phase. It fades in, and then the color fades out very slowly. And then another color fades in. Then you can switch it back. And for this one, if you want, you can just pause it. Or, if you want to continue, you can just continue it. Next is the rumble setting. So, just like the light setting, you're going to want to hold down the rumble button. So, first things first, you're going to want to hold down the rumble button just on its own. And once you see that flash, I'll give you guys a better look real quick. So, that flash there means that it's off, or on. Currently it's on. If I go ahead and turn it off, I go ahead and turn it off, and now there's no rumble. To show you guys that there is no rumble, we go here, and so you can barely hear it, but there is technically a slight bit of rumble. However, if you say hold it again, hold the same button again for a bit, and then hold it, well, you can hear the rumble. Now, that being said, there are also rumble levels. Now, I believe that it is custom rumble. However, oh wait, hold on. I'm not holding down the rumble button. I'm dumb. Yeah. Yeah, so that's that. I've messed around with it a bit. I can't really tell if there is a way to control the rumble, like I just showed you, but you can definitely tell that there is rumble. Now, next up, actually, we're gonna go to change grip in order, because next up is the turbo feature, and this is one of my favorite features. So, right now we're gonna press. Oh, that was the assign feature working. It's magic. So I'm actually gonna real quickly shift my camera over here so that you can see. So, real quick, just every time that you hear that click, it means that there's an input. Now, we can go. Now, if we go and press turbo, the T button, which is right here. So, pressing the T button here, and pressing, let's say, X. So, pressing it once, both of them at the same time once. Note that if I just hold down Y at this point, I have to click it multiple times. Actually, let me just move my my computer a little closer so that you guys can actually hear this. But so yeah, and then if you press T and your chosen button, for in this case it's X, again, you can But that's not even the craziest part. Because if you hold down the T button, now you will feel some vibration. I wonder if this is actually, hold on. I don't know why I've never thought to test this. Okay, so yeah, it is affected by the rumble. Oh, and yeah. And by the way, the best part is, it's toggleable. So, I press the X button once, then I press it again. Now, I do believe... there we go. Wrong stick. So, what you're going to want to do, and you might have noticed that it's going insane now. So, it's not this stick. Sometimes it's these, so you might have to experiment. Actually, no, you won't, because I'm telling you this. So, it's this stick. So, you hold down the T button, and you press it up. So, I'm holding down the T button, and you press it up. Or, down. So there seems to be 3 levels. This is slow, normal, gunshot. Oh, no, that's just the lowest level. So there seems to be a lot of levels, but just note, this thing is just doing inputs, I believe, as fast as possible. And also it doesn't light up. So yeah, but we're just gonna turn that off. So, next important thing is the assign buttons. You might have already seen it work its magic, but it's very, very simple. So, what you want to do is you want to press the M button. Now, this M button is very, very important because, hold on, actually, if I hold down the rumble button, I believe that this might actually possibly be able to control the rumble. So, let's just see this. Yeah, no. Well, it was worth a shot. And the most important purpose of the M button is that if you hold it down... sorry, I'm rediscovering some of this stuff. So if you hold it down for a bit, then you will see that flash. Now, if you press any of the face buttons, let's say, you know what, let's actually use B, for example. So B, and now it's flashing again. Now you press one of the back buttons, and it stops flashing. And now, let's go into here. Let's see here. How do I show you guys that this works? So, X, Y, A, obviously just that. B, B. And I did not press that button. So, back to here. You guys can see, I'm not going to press the B button at all. So, yeah. So, yep. And with that being said, I believe that is everything on how the actual controller functions. Now, as for some other stuff for you all. Now it's time for the actual info stuff of why you might want this. And I'm going to be speaking in a way that, and I tested this, I explained this to my grandmother. No offense to anyone, all the grannies, or anyone else out there, but I'm gonna speak to you like how I speak to my grandmother for explaining this, because, yeah. Just, yeah. So, why should you buy this controller? Well, first things first. This controller is compatible with Xbox, Nintendo Switch, mobile, and PC. It is not compatible with PlayStation. However, it doesn't really need to be. Next, it is the best controller that I've ever used. And I've used some amazing controllers. I've used Nintendo brand. I've used some highly expensive controllers, which kind of makes sense because if you if you do a lot, and I do mean a lot of digging, you will find out that um the people that sell this on Amazon, they not only do they create super high end controllers, but also this is not actually their controller. They buy these and actually sell them at a lesser price. Probably because basically no one can actually buy them off of the actual site. At least I believe that these aren't actually their controllers. Because the actual site is in Chinese, but it is a high-end Chinese controller. It does not have drift. I do not know if this has Hall effect joysticks. Some sources claim that it does, some sources claim that it doesn't. However, Hall effect joysticks are kind of cheap to buy. It has lights. Every good gamer loves lights. It has just the right amount of clickiness while having just the right amount of softness in places that each of them like. Now, some gamers prefer clickiness and think that softness means, it's not good. There's about 3 types of gamers. Gamers that enjoy a mix of mechanical controllers, players that only like mechanical controllers, and players that don't like mechanical controllers. Either way, this is very decent. Next up is its macro customization. I kid you not. You can customize basically anything about this. Whether it be if rumble is turned on or off, how fast your controller does turbo, the lights, no matter what, it's really, really good. It also has very low latency. Now, for non-gamer speak, that just means it's not gonna say no. It's not gonna be like, how do I explain this? So for those older of you, basically, let me explain it in TV terms. Imagine that this is a remote, and that the game that you're playing is the TV. You know how annoying it is when you press play on the TV and it takes half a century to actually play? Well, that's high latency. Low latency basically means that it doesn't take half a century. It's almost immediate. And this is a very low latency controller, which is really, really good. By the way, I'm not sponsored. If I was, might be sponsored if I gave my actual email, but I don't want to. Plus, also, I feel like it's more genuine if you're not sponsored and heard by the person, because I'm making this out of my free will because I'm passionate about it. And also because I want to give, everyone a very nice experience. Next up is, I guess the simplicity of the controller. Gamers will tell you that some of the best controllers, unless you're a Nintendo fan, are more laid back, relaxed. Note the PlayStation controller, the PS5 controller, one of the best controllers that I've ever seen. Simple design patterns with solid colors. Or just simple, one character on one side. This is my more competitive controller. Well, it used to be my more competitive controller. It's more like now my I don't know, my main controller is dead controller. But this is an official Nintendo wired controller that's, Pikachu. And that's pretty nifty. Next, this thing has shown no issues. Now, I have had one person my YouTube mod Abraham actually had some issues with his controller, and you know what? And you know what we found out? He did the mistake of turning it on while one of the joysticks was not centered. Also, speaking of which, this I forgot about that. Oh yeah, also I almost forgot to mention this. This thing remembers basically everything. This controller basically remembers all the settings that you have. It would be easier for me to count. I would say that it would be easier for me to count the amount of things that this controller forgets when it gets turned off, like completely powered off, completely dead. But that would be unfair considering I don't actually remember. I know that there's like one thing. Maybe it's the turbo setting that doesn't remember. Well, I want to give you guys the best experience. So, yeah. We're doing this. Okay. Okay, so let's just turn it all the way up. And controller's completely off. Now we turn it back on. Okay, interesting. Okay, so it will remember the speed, it seems. Hold on. You know what? Let's test that theory. So, lower speed. Turn it off. Sometimes takes a few attempts. Turn it back on. Okay, so yeah. So the controller will remember the speed, but it will not remember which button is mapped. However, it will remember which buttons are assigned to what, which are very, very nice. So I believe that that's the... Oh, that's assigned to A. But, anyway though, let me just talk about the joysticks. Watch this. It's just the right amount of resistance, but hence that it feels like it wants to snap back, but you know, it feels smooth. Feels almost as smooth as gliding with a mouse. Now, I know that this is a little off a tad off the topic and everything, but if I can find it, I know that. Oh come on, I know you're here somewhere. So there was another thing that I was gonna talk about. However, I appear to have lost it. So allow me to talk to you guys about some of the interesting aspects of this while I go and grab what I need. So the controller has mobile support. It does not support multi-point pairing, which honestly, so many things nowadays are trying to support multi-point pairing that I think that it's good that every now and then something doesn't, because multi-point pairing, well, yes, it's nice, and if it's seamless, it's really, really nice. It just kind of gets annoying. If you don't know what multi-point pairing is, just imagine pairing it to two different controller things, pairing it to two different devices, and being able to seamlessly switch between it. My Atom controller that I reviewed a while ago can do that, but it gets annoying. Anyway, though, so after this, I'm actually gonna record a different video, and said different video is going to be a different sort of review where I review multiple accessories. However, just to give you guys a little bit of a tip, well, actually, I'm just going to review a bunch of things, but just to give you guys a little bit of a tip, well, sneak peek, these Joy-Con caps are very, very useful. However, all that being said, there is one last thing that I need to mention. Oh yes, common sources of drift and how to fix them. First things first, I hope that you have a thing of isopropyl alcohol and a thing of compressed air with you, because one common way that you get drift and one common way to fix it is to just have you tried blowing in it? And I am 100% serious. Dust gets in here. Unless it's a Hall effect joystick, dust will get into it and might cause drift. Even if it's a Hall effect joystick, dust will get into it. You just gotta not deal with the dust. Also, get into the controller and clean it every now and then. Seriously, if you want a good tip on how to clean controllers, get a screwdriver, unscrew everything, be very, very careful, don't let any water near it, make sure that everything, being careful with the controller, don't let any water get around it, and use isopropyl alcohol, because isopropyl alcohol is good for cleaning electronics. Also, you know what, I'll do those on a different episode of everything. But yeah, another common source of drift that everyone seems to get is turning their controller on with the joystick facing a certain direction. Now, let me just show you guys this. So, I'm going to turn this off. Oh. So, I'm going to go to all software. I'm going to click on my camera. Okay, it's fine. So, I'm going to turn off my controller. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down one of the joysticks. Note, this controller has no drift. But I'm going to hold this down. And I'm going to press A and turn it on. Whoa. Okay, hold on. Does it seriously know? Oh, that's cool. Hold on, we gotta test this. I gotta test this real quick. I'm so sorry. I'd never thought to test this. So this is something that happens with almost every controller. Let me just use a different controller. I'm gonna have to show that, but that might be an actual sign that those Joy-Con joysticks are a Hall effect, because I don't think that Hall effect joysticks can do that. Let me just use my wired controller. Turn it off. Easy. And now let's just hold the stick up and turn it on. Interesting. Sometimes when a controller's joystick is out of position, it can cause drift. Not all the time. I know that 100% know that controller isn't Hall effect. But interesting. But yeah, basically, there's some easy ways to fix it. Clean your controller regularly. And, clean your controller regularly and make sure to turn it off and on again. And if problems persist, then maybe look a little bit into the electronics. But with that being said, I believe that is 100% everything. Thank you to everyone who has commented. If you have any more questions or anything else that you would like me to cover and, figure out and talk and tell you guys about, comment it down below. I do read every comment. I try to reply to most comments. And yeah, with that being said, have a good day and enjoy.